Today's lesson is Lesson 11, Direct and Indirect or Reported Speech. And this is part 1 of our lessons. I'm Mrs. Swart and I'll be guiding you through this lesson. So to understand how to do reported speech, you need to know what direct speech is, and you also need to know the rules of direct speech so that you can apply it correctly. There are various ways of writing direct speech. I'm going to show you the 3 that you need to know about. If there are any others, we will fill it up a little later. But you need to know that using inverted commas or quotation marks indicates the speaker's actual words used. Peter says, "I'm really happy today." You'll notice that after says, there's a comma, then a space. Then we open the quotation marks. The first letter starts with a capital letter. I am really happy today. Then we have a punctuation mark and we close our quotation marks. Another form is dialogue form. You have the name of the person with the colon right against the name. In other words, there's no space between the name and the colon. Then the learner can draw a pencil line down if they want to write in block form, or they can continue writing directly below the name. And they don't have to underline the name. This is just one of the many variations that you find. And please note, no quotation marks, no inverted commas here, because those are the words used by the speaker. So if you're asked to write in dialogue form, no quotation marks. The speech bubble also indicates the actual words used by the speaker. Let's look at the rules for direct speech. Very simply, the first word within the quotation marks always begins with a capital letter. And if you look at the examples supplied, you will see, for instance, Mary said, then there's a punctuation mark and a space. And when we open our quotation marks, we immediately start with a capital letter. It is cold today. You'll notice that that is the same method used throughout here, even when we actually start on the quotation of the person. And the second thing you need to know, that before you open or close quotation marks, you always have a punctuation mark. See, Mary said, comma, a punctuation mark, and it's snug against said. Mary asked, again the punctuation mark snugly attached to the word asked. And then there's a space before the actual quote. But now you're looking at the next one and saying, but this looks a little different. Even if you start on the quote, it will start with a capital letter. We open the quotation marks and we start with "it is cold today," it written with a capital letter. And we close on a punctuation mark before we close our quotation marks. So I'm sure that's pretty clear to you now. But what happens when I convert a sentence from direct to indirect speech? We're going to quickly look at some examples here. Many changes take place. In punctuation, we have no inverted commas. We don't use question marks or exclamation marks. We use words. Capital letters become small letters unless they're proper nouns. Pronouns change to ensure that the meaning of the sentence doesn't change. So you can change to pronouns, or when there's a pronoun, change it to another pronoun, but do not change the meaning of your sentence. The introductory word and that, remember that that is inserted to link the introductory verb, and it's linked to the spoken word like a bridge that links two pieces of ground. If you're going to have question words, insert the word if or whether instead of the question mark. So you're going to say, if you can't spell well, rather use if. It's shorter, you won't make mistakes there. But if you can spell whether, go ahead and use whether. And I've given you an example here. It's usually for things like question verbs like asked, inquired, question. Mother asked if. And the if there replaces, of course, the question mark, and it tells us that it's a question. So make sure you remember that. It makes sure that it's still a question, something is still being asked. So instead of using a question mark, yeah, we are using if or whether. If the first word of a question is a question word, then you will use this word as your connecting word. Who, what, when, where, why, the W words and how. When can I get my new tablet? Asked Samantha. Samantha asked when she could get her new tablet. So you've taken away your quotation marks and you still are getting the correct, you're getting the correct message here, you're getting the correct words that were used by the speaker. So if you had to testify at some stage, this person would know exactly what you mean, and they'd also feel very happy to say, sure, at least this person is saying exactly what I said. Then adverbs of place and time in the past tense change. Please have a look at that. And then last of all, remember I always tell you practice makes perfect. You're going to click on this link and you are then going to complete the quiz to make sure that you have this correct. Good luck with the quiz. I'm also adding the QR code so that you can go to that lesson. Good luck and have a wonderful day. And there is the QR code if you need that. Thank you so much.